Welcome to today's video. My name is Abby, and here we have Jay.
Hello.
And we have Hannah.
Hi.
And today we're going to be reading some Am I the Assholes and giving our opinions and seeing, are these people assholes or maybe they just need a little communication? So, am I the asshole for telling my roommate that I don't give an F about her boyfriend's allergies?
Bruh.
It seems kind of rude right off the bat, but I guess it depends on the situation.
If it's like me, like a peanut allergy, that's
I guess it depends on like
the severity.
It depends on a lot of things. Yeah.
No, it depends on if he's paying rent. If he's paying rent, that's something that I'll take into consideration because like you're contributing to the household and like your
that's
allergy
true.
Actually, you know.
That's true.
But if you're just like coming in, Netflix and chilling, and then you're like dipping later.
Yeah.
I, 24 female, have been living with my roommate Layla, 25 female, for about 10 months. We have a 2-year lease, so I really want to fix this so we're not miserable for the next year. So she wants to see if she's in the wrong. Okay.
I've been living together for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
Yeah, I mean, a little over a year left. Mm-hmm. Is that what she said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 10 months.
Layla started dating Kyle about 6 months ago. Kyle has severe food allergies to shellfish, nuts, and soy, as well as a lot more mild-moderate allergies. I use nuts and soy a lot in my cooking and some occasional shrimp. At first, Layla would tell me that Kyle was coming over and I would just adjust whatever I was planning on making. And if it was something that could be aerosolized, so like if it like could go in the air when you're using it, so mostly nuts. And this was fine. He's never had any reactions at our apartment from my food. So that's so far.
Well, see, it's weird because the shellfish I can correlate with tofu, and then the peanuts can be correlated with henna. So it's like henna, if it's in the air, no go. I don't know. That's a lot of things to be allergic to, though. Like in cooking,
she's cooking for everybody, though.
No.
So she's only cooking for herself.
Yeah, so she like puts it away and stuff like that.
Okay, it shouldn't be that hard to accommodate.
Right?
You would think. Okay, let's hear it.
But it's slowly escalated, and now they want me to not keep any ingredient in the apartment that could cause him anaphylaxis, even if I'm not actively eating or cooking while he's over. I've refused, and they've both pushed back a lot on it, and I snapped a little and told them I don't give an F about his allergies. I can accommodate him to an extent, but I don't care if the contents of my cabinet make him uncomfortable. He doesn't need to be near my things at all. They're being very dramatic and insisting I'm gonna kill him with my selfishness by having closed jars of nuts in the kitchen I pay to use. But I'm not going to have my diet restricted by someone who doesn't even live here. There's still a tiny little bit left, she said. But you seem like you want to say something, so.
He doesn't live there.
Yeah.
That's
ding, ding, ding.
Period. Like,
I think it's also just the fact that he hasn't had any problems. You know, it's not like something has already happened. It's like I'd be more understanding if like he's had a reaction just by being in the house. You know?
Yeah, I mean? That's different.
But she says, Layla isn't speaking to me at all right now, and I feel a little bad now because I do understand how serious allergies are, but also I think they're overextending boundaries by telling me what I can or can't eat when he's not even here.
That's a little
here's a I guess another important question is we know he's not paying rent, so I mean that's red flag number 1. I would say the other question in it is like how often is he there like with her, right? Versus like when they're out doing things
they
or
can
over
go
at
to
his place.
They can
you know,
I don't know house, top comment, like most upvoted comment was, not the asshole. Layla would tell me that Kyle was coming over. Well, it's an easy solution. He shouldn't. Your environment is incompatible with his needs. Someone who doesn't even live here, beginning and end of this, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, that's pretty, like, cut and dry, but, you know.
Like,
That's
okay,
crazy to me.
it's hard because like I was on kind of the perspective that I guess the main person this was on, like when I moved in with Hannah, her sister was allergic to cats, and she like let me bring the cat in, right? And she was like, I have allergies. And what did I do? Like I wound up helping and doing things that she had asked that would help her out with the allergies. And so if the chick is doing that and she's doing her best to accommodate,
Yeah.
her roommate really has no reason to be upset because it's like she's already doing everything she can.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
ask someone, like you said, to ask someone to literally be like, hey, I know you're already doing this, but like do more because I want this relationship to work and you're, causing issues. Like, no, she pays rent, you pay rent, he doesn't. End of story.
Let's hear this update though.
Okay.
I'm excited.
So I sat down with Layla a few days after my initial post and really talked with her about why I felt her and Kyle's request was unacceptable, and I laid out my biggest concerns. I eat mostly plants, so nuts and soy are like 50% of my protein, so my grocery bill would increase because I'd have to make it up by animal products. Who's going to pay for that? I'm not a vegetarian, but I don't really want to eat like that, and I definitely don't want to pay for it, so who would make up for that increase? 2, I honestly didn't trust them to stop there. I already did what I felt was reasonable accommodation, and it wasn't enough, so how long until coconut eggs and tomatoes? How long do they take those from me, too? Number 3, it was weird AF to ask me in the first place, and I felt really disrespected because this is my home, and I don't take second place to a guest. I can to her personally, of course, but that doesn't extend to the apartment. So, what do you think of those 3?
She's not wrong. I kind of want to know what she said in response to her bringing that up to her. But like, I totally agree. Like she's paying the rent and he's not.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you said there's still more?
Yeah. He said,
There's
Oh
more
my god,
updates.
okay.
Yeah.
I
I have
said
to
I would
know.
agree to continue not using his serious allergens when he was present or soon to be, and that was the line. It didn't go over well at all. And Layla told me I was overreacting and I could just do it and keep talking over me when I tried to say that I wouldn't. Eventually, she slipped up with a, well, what if he moved in? And I said, absolutely not, and ended the conversation with her for the night. When I first read this, I had a feeling is that she wanted him to move in, and like,
Yeah, that
wait a
was
minute.
the whole point.
She was dipping her toes in the water to see like how willing the roommate would be, because if she could get her to a point where it was like probably he felt comfortable, then she'd be like, oh, like how do you feel about him moving in? They pitched the whole like cheaper rent thing. I don't know. That's
there's still 3 little paragraphs. So, I told her that this had gone way too far and I didn't think I could be happy living here with her anymore. If it were easier for her to leave instead, that would be fine too. She was really upset, and I said I wouldn't force her out or leave her suddenly on the lease alone, but it was one or the other. Eventually, she accepted it and decided that she would move back in with her dad. That was at the end of April, and she's fully moved out as of this week. My childhood best friend Allie has been flip-flopping on moving to my city for forever now and calling me saying that I had, and then so she called her saying that she had a cheap open bedroom if she came right away, and she finally got her to pull the trigger on it. And it helped Layla. She didn't have to pay break lease since I agreed to cover the full rent at my own risk. Allie has stuff to tie up in her hometown state, but she's already sent me half of July's rent. I gotta squeeze for a little while, but I'll make it. I'm super excited to see her and show her around. Plus, we've been cooking together since 4th grade, so that'll be a nice change. LOL. And I can get a cat. It's been a rough couple of months, but I'm very happy now with how things are looking out right now, so I just wanted to share with you guys.
That's really
so
sweet.
That's so sweet.
I feel like it's a solid, good ending, you know?
Yeah, I kind of hope that they're still friends after the fact that she moved out. But at the same time, like, I believe that friends are sometimes there for a season.
So
And
I think consensus is, for me, is not the asshole, probably.
no, she's not the asshole. Her
Yeah.
roommate was trying to pull something sneaky. It didn't work out. I hope the relationship worked out, and I hope that the friendship ended up at least on good, decent terms, I guess. But like, she was kind of wrong for asking that. Yes.
Am I the asshole for locking my daughter out for coming home past her curfew?
Yes, 1,000%. I've watched serial killer documentaries.
Absolutely.
I've seen. Yes, 1,000%. You are.
Yes,
Don't
daughter, son, maybe
not. No, even
No,
then,
even
don't lock your
then.
kids out.
female.
IF49 have 2 daughters, one of which is 17. Her curfew is 10:30 p.m., which I personally think is a reasonable time. However, she finds it unfair for someone her age to have a curfew of 10:30. In the past, I have had multiple arguments with her, as her friends having more relaxed parents than her. However, I think 10:30 is a perfectly good time for her to come home. She always comes home at the agreed time, and she doesn't drink or smoke or anything like that. We have had a couple of arguments in the past with rules and etc. For example, she wasn't allowed her phone in her bedroom until she was 14, and her past curfew when she was 14 was 6 p.m., which I think is also reasonable for someone of that age. Anyway, cutting to last night, she was out with friends at a restaurant and also hanging by the river. I don't like her hanging around the river, as it can get pretty dodgy. I know this because she has to have her location on when she's going out. Okay.
Good mom.
That's
good
a
mom
good
for that
parent.
location.
Yeah. I continuously checked her location to check that she was safe and all. However, the time, it was already 10 p.m. and she hadn't begun to make her way back yet. At 10:30, she still wasn't back, and then I asked her why she wasn't back yet. I was very upset. She had agreed to come back at 10:30 as usual. Then came to 11 and she still hadn't come back. And she had texted me to ask if she could stay out later. Of course, I said no because it was already 11 and she wasn't back. I got more and more annoyed as she still wasn't making her way back yet. And I'm just imagining her like, yeah, you're not moving. I see you. I know.
She's literally sitting there like,
well,
you've moved 10 feet. Why are you not coming home?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but my parents had the location on, and at first I was like, that's creepy. You're invading my privacy. But now, as an adult, knowing what I know and how scared I am being out by myself, or even just out with like a couple of their girls, like, I understand. Like, I want someone to have my location.
Well, my entire family, we all have each other's locations. So it's just like not a
like,
big
I
deal
want
to
to
me.
know.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Now,
I want someone to know where I am 24/7.
It depends on
That's
how it's
weird.
being used.
That's weird. I mean, someone already does know when it's your FBI agent on your phone. Anyways, I have a different perspective of that because my parents were like weirdly strict with certain things, but like, I don't know, maybe Abby, your parents did this. My curfew didn't really exist. It was when the sun starts setting, you come home. We weren't that family that like ate dinner really early. Like, you know, my dad kept tabs on me, but if I didn't respond, you know, within 10 minutes, it was, you know, then I'd start getting that, hello, are you paying attention? So
mine was pretty situational. Just my parents had we just had trust-based relationships. So it was like, depending on where I was going, depending on all that is when they'd make a curfew. But like, if I was just hanging out in the neighborhood with neighborhood friends, like, when the sun starts setting, you just kind of tend to head home or check in with your family for dinner.
It's dinner time around there anyways.
For locking them out.
Here's the rest of it. So, I was very annoyed with her, and I was even tempted to go out in the car to go and get her from wherever she was. Finally, at 12 a.m., she finally turned up, and I had already locked the door. and she was knocking on the door. I continued to ignore the knocks. She was a whole hour and a half late from coming home. I left her out there about 20 minutes with her knocking on the door, begging for me to let her in until I finally unlocked the door. I began to shout at her, telling her that coming home at this time of night was unacceptable. After about 10 minutes of us arguing, I let her go upstairs. I decided that if she wasn't going to come home at the right time, then she isn't able to go out at all for the next week or so. I'm upset that she totally disregarded my rules, and as long as she is living under my house, she must come home at 10:30. I'm very upset with her, and although she isn't one to break the rules, this one has left me with no trust for her. Am I the asshole? Here's one thing.
Okay.
Because you don't know what happened. Like, did something bad happen to her and she just couldn't tell you about it?
True.
You know?
That's true. But at the same time, like, I grew up very different than you two did.
Yeah.
Very strict, very religious, homeschooled, so I didn't really have friends that, like, I saw on the daily. So, like, if I was going out, my parents had to meet the kids' parents before I was hanging out with them. Mm-hmm. They had to go to the house or wherever I was going and see who I was meeting with until I moved out. I was 18 when I moved out. They did it when I was 18. I was going to the mall with a friend. They would pull up to the mall, get out of the car with me, walk in, make sure I was meeting who I said I was meeting, and they had to meet their parents before I would hang out with them. Locking her out was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the worst I got was, like, grounding. Like, I understand, like, you didn't respect me. I'm the one who's legally, like, responsible for you if something happens. Sorry. Like, I understand all that, but locking her out for 20 minutes, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but, like, after 2 minutes, I would have been panicking.
Right. Me too.
Panicking. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Your kid comes home late, you leave the door unlocked always. But also, you know, I was kicked out when I was 16.
But also, why doesn't your daughter have a key? Sorry.
Oh, true.
She's 17. She should have a key.
Because probably they've never, like, it's probably one of those things where they might live in a good neighborhood where everyone keeps the doors unlocked, so she doesn't need a key. So she purposefully locked the door to prove a point to the kid.
Yeah, but, like, even when you live in a nice neighborhood, you're gonna lock it when you go to sleep.
I mean, I had my key.
12 o'clock is still, like, late.
I think that no matter what, leave the door unlocked, let your kid in. The world is a scary place. Mm-hmm. And you do your, you know, punishment, proving a point, whatever it is you're trying to achieve in the home, because that is a traumatizing situation, right? And I guarantee you that if that chick grows up, you know, and ever has kids, you know, she's not going to do that to her kids, because that's a traumatic thing to happen.
Yeah. I think she's the asshole for locking her out. I understand, like, grounding, taking with a phone, whatever it is that you're going to do, but, like, locking her out.
No, yeah, everyone's like, you're the asshole for locking her out. Like, I love how you're worried about her safety, yet keep her locked out of the house late at night. LOL. You know?
Yeah. Are there any recaps, or is it just comments?
Had my own house key. Like she said, she was a good kid, so it's like, you know, it's not like you have to be worried about her doing anything that could.
Yeah.
You know? Like, am I the asshole for making my husband give up the dog?
Bruh. Yes.
Yes.
No question. Yes. I
Done.
don't. Nope.
Next one.
Don't care.
I mean, yeah. Let's go. Moving on. She has something to say.
She said he's the asshole. What? They both think that she's the asshole.
She said, "Don't get rid of me."
Okay, I'm just gonna keep putting. Okay, so I got married 5 years ago, and we got a dog together 2 years into the marriage. The dog is an Italian Greyhound, and so we got him when he was a puppy, 2 months old. So we are his mom and dad, so to say. I'm actually a cat person. Bruh. I had cats. Girls, excuse me.
They got something to say about this one.
I'm actually a cat person. I had cats my whole life, and my family, they all have cats. On the other side, my husband's family, they're all dog people, and all of them have dogs. When we wanted to get a pet, I wanted a cat, but my husband wanted a dog. So I compromised, and we got a dog. My husband promised me that dogs aren't difficult if you train them properly. First mistake was getting the dog, if you don't like dogs. This dog is untrainable. He doesn't listen, and he's pretty stubborn. He's worse when he was a puppy. Now he's sterilized, but he still wants it his own way. He doesn't like to sit alone. He is overly attached and needy. He demands to sleep with us, even though we try to train him to sleep in his own bed in our bedroom. So I'm forced to sleep with the dog 3 years now.
Oh no, you poor thing.
However, I got pregnant and we have a baby now. The dog is too sensitive and can't be around the baby. The baby cries a lot. Here's the reason why. Because they had colic the first few months, and she still is a baby and cries from time to time. The dog howls in the same time as the baby. They are a choir. So me as a tired mother that is breastfeeding needs to be okay with this, but I can't. It's too stressful. It's enough that the baby cries. I can't listen to the dog, too. It's too much. Every other day I have a meltdown. I talk to my husband many times, and he says that he understands me, but I need to tolerate the dog. The dog has only us. He says I don't realize that I actually love the dog. That's because I treat the dog good. I feed him, bathe him regularly. We cuddle a lot, too. I say to him that that's true, but it's too much for me right now. The dog is making my life miserable.
You're making your life miserable.
Is devastated and says that I'm the worst human being because I want to get rid of the dog. He says that the dog is a family member and I need to accept that. Is this true? Am I the asshole?
Yes.
Yes, you're the freaking
you're the asshole.
Dude, right?
3 years you've lived with this dog? I've been with Kaipo, our dog, for 1.5 years, maybe? I don't even know if that's entirely the time. If I had a baby and it was crying and Kaipo was howling with it, I'd be like, oh, okay, shut up now. But like, oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah. That's just an instinct.
These are all just...
And you can train them.
These are all just normal dog behaviors. Jay?
It sounds like this don't know a thing about dogs. Well, you know what? They got a breed that is very similar to a cat. Yes, they require a lot of exercise. Do you live in a home? Just let it go run in the backyard. Or another thing, soothe your child. Take the dog for a walk. Calm it down and reduce the aggression. Sorry, my dog information brain is coming out. And all I can think of is save some money and hire a trainer. The dog clearly isn't listening to you because you don't know what you're doing with training. So figure that step out and you'll have a much better dog.
This commentary, you're going to be so mad. It says, a dog would do better in a household where it does not need the constant reassurance of your presence, where it understands the rules, and it does not have to deal with the added insecurity of a baby. For the sake of the dog, give it up. As for your husband, dogs should always be treated well, but he has failed this dog. Now you and your child must pay the price.
Oh my god. Oh my god. See, I don't even remember what I was going to say earlier. But like, the dog is doing a natural thing.
I just think that they shouldn't have gotten a dog in the first place, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing is, if the dog's not listening, you're not training it properly.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
And then
just be the one person. Like, both people have to be a part of it, like you guys are.
Yes.
Because otherwise, they're not going to listen.
We learned that lesson. Yes. Yeah.
The whole thing can be chalked up to a probably lack of research and understanding in the breed that they got. because there are dogs that you can get that have cat-like tendencies. And so that's how you could have came in the middle with that, but you got a breed that requires much more attention. And
they're just like big love balls of energy, Italian Greyhounds.
Yeah,
so Italian
and just
Greyhounds are small.
it's training.
Whippets are like this big, but they look like Greyhounds, and Greyhounds are like Icy and Oliver, the ones that we have. They're big.
Okay. So it's a smaller dog that's howling when the baby's crying because it's an instinct.
It's the size of Kaipo, about.
I feel like
no, it's
the
way
person
Italian Greyhounds are this big, you guys.
They're like
Chihuahuas. They're like Chihuahuas.
So they're
I
not.
feel like
wow. Okay.
the person that wrote that comment is probably like an old rich man that has a little yappy dog that like they doesn't have any training. They don't really care about the training that much. Like they'll pay for it, but they don't want to have to be the one that does it.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Like they're like, oh yeah, I have a dog and it's trained and whatnot. Like one of those people that pays to have a dog that comes potty trained, fully trained, like all of those things.
Even if they're pregnant and had a baby, like, that does give them some, like, it's hard. Obviously.
It is hard.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
But I think the first mistake that just shouldn't have happened was getting the dog.
Or getting the dog in the first place. Yeah. If both of them together were not ready to have a dog and put the work in on that dog,
it shouldn't have happened.
They were wrong.
Wait, I'm just gonna throw this in really quickly. A known fact about Italian Greyhounds is they are stubborn, have house training issues, and tendency to chase after small animals. Those two things alone, with a 15-second Google search, you could have learned that this is just a hard, stubborn breed, and that's it. And the whole thing comes down to a lack of care to train. And yes, 1,000%, she is the asshole. You decided to get a dog. You take all the responsibility that comes with it.
Agreed.
That's it. Agreed. Is the asshole. It all shouldn't have happened.
I mean, she's definitely the asshole because the husband clearly loves this dog, but he may or may not have had time to train it, which is also part of the reason why the dog is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Come on, that was a sad one.
That was good.
Lots of assholes, lots of not assholes today. But thank you for joining me. Like, this was a lot of fun. And we'll definitely do this again. This might have to be the crew for it. So leave a like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment. Do you think they were the asshole, the people in these stories? Were they? Were they not? Were we wrong? Are we the assholes?
I hope not.
Leave it in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. So thanks for joining. Peace.